Good afternoon, it's Tony Hayes from Paranormal Investigation UK. Today's date is the 1st of August 2022. Time's just coming up to 20 to 2 on a Monday afternoon. Right, I've got something a little bit more interesting this time. And this I'm actually going to call spiritual device experiments. And this was a friend of mine, Terry Slingsby, who had a theory of using a spiritual trumpet and simply just inserting, as you can see on this picture here, a digital recorder into the spiritual trumpet that was purchased. I think it was about £20-25, something like that. He uses two different types of recorder. One is, I think one's a Sony, and another one's Olympus. We just don't have any, he's not too certain what he used. So all he's actually done with this is insert the recorder into the spiritual trumpet and then simply press record. So the actual spiritual trumpet has been used since Edwardian, Victorian times. The guy on the left you may recognise is Harry Houdini, and the medium on the right, I'm not sure who that is. And I think when these were used initially, the idea behind these is that the voices were beginning to be emitted from within the spiritual trumpet. Also, back in Edwardian and Victorian seance parlours, really, when the device was used, often the researchers or the mediums reported that the trumpet would often levitate. So it's almost as if we look at it from a spiritual perspective, that the spirits somehow levitated, because if the trumpet was just simply on a table, for example, and voices came from within it, or you thought they came from it, the allegation from the skeptics would always be, oh, it's just ventriloquism, that type of thing. The reason why Harry Houdini himself got involved with it. But where the trumpet is levitating, then it's very difficult to explain as ventriloquism. And then it seems to have died a death, disappeared to the point where it's become a redundant device, really. So spirit containers are not uncommon within the realms of mediumship. Certainly, some mediums add a box, often referred to as spirit cabinet. In the skull experiments conducted in the 90s, they use a glass dome, which again is similar to a cabinet. Is it that the spiritual trumpet itself is a form of cabinet, where the energy itself is contained within, and inserting the recorder is capture the voices? Because undoubtedly the reason why I'm doing this set of analysis now is because Terry is able to record something within it which shouldn't be there. Now, because this was just a simple, quick test experiment that Terry did some time ago, there's never got any importance over detail. That's the reason why we're not sure that what recorder was used, exactly where it was positioned, that type of stuff. That will change as we're going to do further experiments, because I'll be dealing with another one later today from Penny Wallace. So this is what I'm actually going to fire this up in Media Player. That is what Terry's recorded from within inside the trumpet. Now, I've known Terry for about 2 or 3 years. He's an honest guy, and I'm not going to question his integrity with that. He generally said this is what he recorded, so therefore I will just simply accept it until my eyes and ears tell me differently. It has been amplified, no doubt about it, and the way that Terry dealt with the audio was not ideal. He saved it onto YouTube. This is the YouTube here. He does have a YouTube account, and that's where I got it from. I then just ripped out the audio from it and saved it as a WAV file. So it's not ideal, but in principle, that sound should not be there. So the way that I'm going to work with it now I've already had a listen to it a couple of weeks ago, is I'm going to analyse it in detail. I already heard some weird stuff on this. The reason why I wanted to do this set of experiments. Here we go. Now, it's simply been repeated twice, so I'm not that interested in that. I'm actually going to get rid of that. Or the vast majority of it. Yeah, it's going to be quite difficult, I think. Yeah, I've got rid of it now. So all Terry's done is just simply repeated it. And this is what it's got, this particular feathering. And it has been amplified, I can tell that. Let's bring the analyzer up. So I'm not using any amplification whatsoever. So let's just loop it and repeat it backwards. It's incredibly loud. So what I need to do is what I did before, was I use some EQ, some standard settings I have, and just really to lock onto. Let's have a look here. I'll use this one. This should reduce quite a lot of the sound. In a way, it's similar to the scanning radios that the SB7, SB11, that type of device that's often using with investigators. You've got a tremendous about a background noise, and I think a lot of the background noise is caused by the initial amplification. Terry, unfortunately, I don't think he's got the original audio from the recorder. He's simply been, but he uses it nothing but a smartphone to do all the processing, and he's obviously amplified it, put it onto the YouTube, and I then dragged the audio off. Once it's been deteriorated to that point, it's impossible for me to nearly impossible for me to clean up, and what I'm trying to do is pick out some voicing. Let's try. Yeah, it's quite difficult to to clean this up to any extent, really. this is a general default that I've saved the EQ for, which I often use for EVPs. I think what I'm going to have to do is put it through some noise reduction software. So what I'll do is I'm actually going to take the EQ out so it's as normal. What I'll do now is call that version 1. Okay, so we've got that one there. I'm actually going to open it into WavePad, where it's got some, I use this for noise reduction. The trouble is that I'm not sure if there are voices, what part area it is, so I've got to be careful with this. So all it's a question of doing is sampling that particular area, and it's going to grab that noise sample there. We highlight it all, go back into edit and clean up noise reduction, and we apply that sample section onto all of it. I've sent it to 50% and it'll begin to clean it up. And it appears to be voices in it. Like I said, I looked at this a couple of weeks ago and I knew there was something going on within this stream of noise within it. I can probably do the same again. We can apply it again. The difficulty with noise reduction, you risk getting rid of stuff that you might want to keep. Okay. Let's take that section there. It's just a question, just to keep applying the subtraction until such time that it begins to deteriorate completely, and that's the time really then to stop. Okay, I think that's as far as I dare go, I think. So what I'm actually going to do is save this as a V1 and I'll call it noise reduced. Just save that one. Come back out of there. There's V1, there's the one that we're interested in. So the thing is with this, why I found it intriguing, Terry's just gone up a spiritual trumpet, he's inserted a recorder in it and done nothing. Why have we got sound within it? That's the question. The reason why I'm intrigued with this one. Noise reduce. So obviously you can see clearly. I'm just going to mute that one. We can get rid of some of this silence. We can loop that again. Right, okay. I've heard a lot of strange stuff in my time, but this is really intriguing. Because what we've done, they're exactly the same sound file. You've seen me do the process. I did do this a couple of weeks ago. The reason why I heard stuff then, I thought, I need to spend a lot more time with this. The reason why I've come to it now, analyse it, that shouldn't be there. It reminds me of multiple voices, really. What I can do is, I haven't got an explanation why this happens, but I often find with electronic voice phenomena, EVP, is that the sound is often at a much faster tempo than what you'd normally expect from when a human's speaking. I have a default of 150, which is 50% slower. Why that is, I don't know. Obviously, it time stretches it because I've obviously slowed it down just to see if we can get anything clearer. It's almost as if you walked in a room with a recorder and listening to it sounds like a male and a female. I think at this stage of this, because this is part one of what may well turn into be a lengthy investigation into electronic voice phenomena with the use of what have been historical spiritual devices, the spiritual trumpet with a more modern day electronic recorder. What is happening here? What I can say is it's undoubtedly within the voice spectrum. There are multiple, maybe more than two. It's what sounds like I'm using amplified headphones. I use a Rode microphone to do these videos, which also has its own inbuilt headphone socket, which I can have a separate volume, so I may be hearing it slightly louder than what you are doing. And I'm also using over-ear Sony headphones, mainly because I don't miss anything. So you may be hearing things slightly different if you're using things like laptop speakers or maybe a mobile phone speaker. Earbuds are probably better, but you're better off with over-ear headphones, which isolates you from outside sound. And what I generally do with this sort of stuff is listen to it 3 or 4 times, stop it a couple of minutes, then go back and have a re-listen. How much pareidolia is taking place here is very questionable, because there's nothing clear, nothing jumps out. One thing we can say is the sound should not be there. It's mixed in with a phenomenal amount of other sounds. I'm pretty convinced that it's been amplified. And the difficulty with amplification, if you don't know what you're doing, you can certainly push audio into overdrive driven. Once you overdrive, the sound will begin to break up and it becomes distorted, which may have happened in this case. But it's just like multiple people talking. It really shouldn't be there. This is why it's so intriguing. Right, what I'm actually going to do with this is, I don't need to, we've come a long way, haven't we, from, this is the original one. To this. Bear in mind they've slowed this down by 50%, and it seemed to fit in. I've dealt with audio for 30 odd years. I just used to a particular tempo. I generally know if it's too slow or too fast. And for some reason, one of the dynamics of EVPs, I often find it comes at much faster tempo. I have no science explanation why that occurs, but it seems to be in certainly over 90% of cases that it seems to be faster tempo. It may well be as we begin to continue with the experiments that it begin to get clearer. What you often find with this type of experiment. So what I will be doing now, I'm going to save this movie. I'm actually going to call it Spiritual Device Experiment Part 1, and the next one I'll do with Penny, well, it will be Part 2, and so on and so forth. We'll continue with this, and we'll see how these experiments actually develop. I will save this stream as 50% slower. I'll also save it as 50% at normal speed. Save that down for the other two to listen to. But it seemed to be that Terry's onto something here, which is incredibly intriguing, because no matter how we look at it, that sound should not be there. Right, okay, so I'll do that, I'll save that. So I'll end this movie here now, save that into YouTube. Please comment your thoughts. Okay, bye.